Hi everyone and welcome to another video from Afterbuild. I am here today with Brett Hamblin. Brett is the owner and director of Reside.
I'm involved in both camps as developments and construction.
Okay.
But I leave construction well alone.
Oh, do you?
It's a very, very different part of the business, and I just concentrate on the development side. I have a business partner, Richard West, who is part of Reside Developments, which we set up about 15 years ago, and we manage it together.
Perfect, okay. So I wondered if you could tell us a little bit today just about how you came to know of Afterbuild, because we've known each other for some time now.
Yeah, it's worryingly, it is a long time. I think originally it was influenced by the old CEO of Langs, who was involved with Afterbuild, Steve Ligate, and I think it's the first one to give the introduction. And we were looking for a company that sort of took away all the sort of issues after we finish on site. I'd love to think we build a great product, but it's inevitable. There are problems that arise.
I think you distinguish yourselves by recognising that your product is fallible, as opposed to imagining, as so many people do, that the product is perfect.
Yeah, I fully explain to customers, you've got to understand a house is built in the middle of an open field in all weathers by hairy house builders. It's a handmade product and it will have faults. It won't be perfect, much as I'd like it to be.
It's quite a crude product as well. It's been built, I think, I mean, obviously technologies kind of change and they move on, but broadly, houses have been being built in roughly the same way for hundreds of years now.
Yeah, I think it sort of relies on the products haven't really evolved a massive amount. I mean, yes,
bricks and mortar and
it is
such,
that way render, but things like renders have changed. We get sort of self-finished renders and so on. So, and there's lots of proprietary things you can add to it that make it simpler. I'd love to build more in a factory situation to bring on site, but it doesn't really work. I mean, our product is very bespoke. We don't build this anywhere else.
Yes.
If I was building it over and over again, then probably I would get things a lot better and a lot more perfect, I suppose, for want of a better description.
And I suppose the other thing is that all of the products and technologies that have moved on and processes, they're quite standardised now across the industry because we benchmark and also because we're regulated. So if something is certainly working in one part of the country, whereas a couple of hundred years ago, we might have no idea about it down here. Nowadays, those processes are brought before everyone, and in fact, we're made to comply to a certain degree.
Yeah, there's obviously certain controls and checks you have in. I mean, we do obviously with site, and just the process we've got to try and check things over and over again. And we take a very hands-on approach by looking at this with our years of experience of dealing with it. You sort of know what the end user wants, and you're constantly sort of digging away at those sort of parts of it. But it's having the right team to manage it. We do have quite accomplished teams, but I say they're reliant on trying to work around certainly larger sites to try and pick up everything that could be, I would say, potentially not covered over, but sort of it may not be perfect, and it needs to be every single time.
Yes. So tell us, if you wouldn't mind, a little bit about Frith Park. This is your latest site.
Exactly. It's reaching the end now from a point of view from sales. It certainly is finished build-wise, but I think you guys are still actively involved. Hopefully, by not a great amount. I think you get the initial surge where people seem to think you're there responsible from doing everything to empty the bins, to clear the gutters, which is part of how we have to address it. But no, this site was a mixture of new build and part refurbishment. It has 37 units in total and split over houses and apartments. The mansion house, which was a locally listed building, is 11 apartments and 26 houses, 2, 3s and 4 bedroom.
Okay.
But they were configured in very much how it should have been a sort of an old working farm. So they have sort of lots of terrace units and trying to create sort of model courtyards of how they should have been, would they have been old farm buildings. And
I've been there. It's on the sort of southeast side of the M25, but it's about 2 minutes away from the road, but it's desperately quiet.
Well, it is at times, yeah. Most of the time it is quiet. It depends on sort of prevailing situations like wind. You know, the traffic actually, when it's wet, busy with the wind from a north direction and no leaves on the trees. Yes, you're aware of the presence of noise, but I think anybody living in Surrey is listening to noise from motorways, from railways, from planes.
And the access as well is unbeatable.
It's very, very good for that reason. It's a good location, and we always like to build in places where we would think, yes, we would like to live there.
So we do for you at that side estate management, which is a relatively new venture for us. But I think that our companies have been working together for a long time, and that was something that made sense for us to join up on and see how that worked from both of our points of view, because we knew you well enough for you to be able to really steer that offering, and you knew us well enough to trust that we would give it our best effort.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's an issue that some of the problems that arise on a site could fall into two separate camps. It could be part of the management company on the estate, or it could be a product. I mean, give an example like drainage, or the electric gates of the entrance not working properly, where the initial people think, well, I bought the house, therefore it must be the after-build contents part of it to deal with, but rather than the estate management. If you had two separate companies, I think the danger was some of the things would always fall in one or the other camp, but never that precise. As it's managed by you, you manage it between you.
And also, because you're right, and we see that a lot across sites, that there's really very little crossover. It's very much one thing or it's the other. And often things are tricky when there's no kind of feedback mechanism between the two companies. Whereas with us, we have the ultimate feedback mechanism, because Ellie, who does our estate management for Reside, she just comes back to the office and tells the right team about it, and we have those good channels.
Yeah, it works really, really well from our point of view. The customers took a while to understand that it's two separate entities, but the benefit to them is that it's, as you say, a company that comes back and talks internally, and it takes all that problem away from me.
Why did outsourcing of customer care work for you generally?
Well, in my experience, that from a previous life, that you end up with a very big team, that it'd be sort of some days you have to be very busy, other days not. You try to address your properties where you're trying to reduce the number of defects you get in there. But I think it was just a necessity of the size of our company to outsource that part, rather than having a massive team to sort of control any issues that arose. And also, I think you also get the range of experience from dealing with other developers and other parts of that. You've got that sort of wider expanse of knowledge to know that when there's a consistent problem, you can feed it back to us as well.
I guess you, like so many other companies, have the opportunity to hire in people specifically to deal with defects, but I know that you were quite concerned about the sort of sickness, the absence, and the fact that they don't respond 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I think that is all part
pesky
of
employment laws.
Yeah, no, it would be nice if that you get somebody on tap. I mean, a development like this, 37 units, would be fantastic if you had a concierge service or somebody was always there and available to do any maintenance, but it's just not viable.
Yeah, you have to hand that cost over to the consumer. Yeah.
And they wouldn't understand if I suddenly wanted to charge them £100,000 a year for somebody just to be there in attendance to deal with things. It's going to affect the management charges, so it has to balance out. So this is the best of both worlds, where we get a 24-hour care for the emergency part of it, but also the other parts that are managed. But I think it's educating sometimes the customers to understand that don't just phone for the minor things, collect them up a little bit and then have them done. It's less inconvenience, and just somebody can manage all the bits at once.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Is there anything you want to talk about while you're here? Any new projects that you've got ongoing? Yeah,
we've got a few more. I mean, the type of product we do, we're very much like Frith. I'm probably going to try and get into more outlets, probably smaller developments. This one was 37 units.
Quite large,
yeah. I think you lose your sort of ability to see around it. It takes up your whole day when you visit the site.
Yes.
Where I quite like the idea of a lot more outlets to be selling from a lot more positions. So, a few more in the Surrey area, so watch your space.
Very exciting. Well, thanks ever so much for joining us, Brett.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us. That's another video from Afterbuild. See you next time. Goodbye.